The study of the effects of electromagnetic frequencies and electromagnetic fields upon human behavior is over 100 years old, beginning with the studies of Dr. Nikola Tesla. In the 1930s, Russian scientists were able to force people into a state of sleep by manipulating electromagnetic fields. The first human experimental subjects to die were victims of the Japanese electromagnetic weapons program during World War II. Japanese scientists in a civilian program used human test subjects, which they referred to in their lab notebooks as monkeys. These POWs were in effect cooked to death in the laboratory. The Japanese were unable to field a weapon because the power source was too ungainly and too large. However, the United States, evaluating their program at the end of World War II, stated that this weapon could be used to kill unshielded human beings at a distance of 5 to 10 miles. In the 1950s, the Soviet Union began to microwave the occupants of the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. This resulted in the illness and death of several U.S. ambassadors. None of these people were warned by our government, even after they became aware of this state of affairs, until 1972, when it was about to be made public by journalists. During the Nixon administration, during arms talks held in Moscow, aides to the president were reportedly acting in a bizarre manner, and it was theorized that they were under attack by electromagnetic weapons, the same weapons that had been used on the U.S. Embassy for the last 25 years. In the 1980s, the large-scale use of these weapons by the United States and her ally, Great Britain, occurred in Grenham Common, England. The United States was attempting to deploy tactical nuclear weapons at the Grenham Common Air Base in England. Thousands of protesters encircled the base. Most of them were women and children. The protesters began to lodge complaints that they were under attack by some sort of electromagnetic weapon. Several studies were made, including a fairly comprehensive study by the magazine Electronics Today. Electronics Today verified readings and shared their results with Dr. Robert Becker, twice nominated for the Nobel Prize. Dr. Becker stated that these were the exact physical and electromagnetic conditions that he would expect to see if electromagnetic weapons had been fielded against civilians in this instance. There are anecdotal reports during the first Iraq War and the current Iraq War that these weapons have been used on civilians and military personnel. I have personally met with over 250 individuals that I find credible, including several families, who have claimed that they are under attack with these weapons. These people are being physically burned. Their bodies are being heated up, and in effect they are being cooked using microwave and radio frequency radiation energy. The microwaving of the hypothalamus has a profound effect on human emotions. These targets are victims of sleep deprivation and manipulation of their emotional states. The microwave attacks instigate feelings of fear, terror, anger, and other negative emotions in order to control these dissidents and whistleblowers here in the United States. These American citizens have in effect been turned into unwilling human experimental subjects. Public examples of non-lethal weapons concentrate on the most benign types of technology in order to make people feel good about the use of non-lethal weapons. However, these are anti-personnel weapons that can be used against individuals, or in the case of extremely low frequency technology, these weapons can be used against entire cities and entire nations. What the public is aware of are sound weapons, tasers, chemical sprays, and other non-lethal weapons that are designed not to instigate blowback. However, the active denial system, which is sold as non-lethal, can be lethal depending on the amount of power used, as well as the distance to the target and the health of the target. The active denial system is a public non-lethal weapons system. On the American bicentennial on July 4th, 1976, the Soviet Union instigated the woodpecker signal. essentially an electromagnetic signal that can be heard on shortwave radio all over the world. This frequency is designed to disrupt normal human central nervous functions. Dr. Andrei Puharich, an expert in the field, has stated it is his opinion that this was the first salvo in an undeclared World War IV using electromagnetic weapons between the USSR and the United States. These weapons and this undeclared war continues today, and the victims are American citizens and the citizens of other nations.